are in listen-only mode.
Hello and welcome to the January 2017, the first 2017 3TC of the year, obviously, because it's the first. I'm Danica Olson and I am the 3TC host. If you're joining us for the first time, welcome. We're glad to have you. And if you're joining us for the 20th time, we're also glad to have you. We have the man, the myth, the legend, Reverend Todd E. Buegler as our guest today, with this really awesome picture I think explains Todd in a nutshell. Welcome, Todd. We're glad to have you.
Glad to be here, and thank you so much for stalking my Facebook page and finding that photograph. I'm grateful, deeply grateful.
So welcome. That must be like a first selfie gone wrong.
I have no idea what that picture was from, actually.
I love it.
I can't begin to just think what that might have been, but yeah. And that's what I look like all the time, really.
I love it. Yeah. Well, we are excited to have you today to give us a little behind-the-scenes peek at the network and the extravaganza. And my guess is that there are at least a few in attendance who just know you as the face of the network on stage at the E, but might not know who you are as thinker, prankster, goofball guy. So will you tell us about yourself and what you're not, or what you are doing when you're not wearing the hat of president?
Well, first of all, goofball.
Yeah.
That can't possibly be accurate. I am a husband to Lori. We've been married for 22 years. Yes, that's right, I think. Or 23. I think it's 22.
Hopefully she's not listening.
Yeah, I'm thinking to myself that I should have thought that through before we started. Father of Nathan, who's a 10th grader, and Sam, who's an 8th grader. They are both on the swim team and in band and choir and things like that, and so we spend much of our time in the car, driving from place to place. I'm a pastor at Trinity Lutheran Church in Owatonna, Minnesota, which is about an hour and 15 minutes south of downtown Minneapolis. And a really neat congregation there, kind of fun people. And I get to do this network stuff kind of on the side. It's been a real blessing and kind of a fun thing to fun place to put my energy. So
cool.
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome. And you are currently in Louisville?
I am sitting in Louisville, Kentucky, even as we speak. I just got in last night to do the prep work. We just finished a meeting with the Hotel Convention Services person. We were finalizing some details about Extravaganza 2017. There are people on planes from the E-team and the other folks flying in today. Some of the early folks on the teams getting in to start doing the preparation. And really tomorrow morning we start unpacking boxes and setting some things up. And gathering some coordinators start coming then and start meeting then, and lots of good stuff will happen. It's going to be a great week. We're really looking forward to the extravaganza this year.
Cool. If people are used to our format or not, I just want to say that we'd be happy and love if you would join the conversation. So you can submit your questions and comments in the box on the right-hand side of your screen, and I'll pass them along to Todd here in a bit. And then we would also love if you'd live tweet using hashtag 3TC. So without further ado, you started to mention that you are prepping and on site for Extravaganza 2017. Tell us what you want to tell us. What is it legal to pass along?
Well, right, and there's some things we don't want to pass along yet because there's some things we want to have as sort of surprises during the event. But we're really excited. The theme is 500, and we're focusing on the reformative and redemptive work of God in our history as a church and as a world. the reforming and redemptive work of God currently within our hearts and around us, and the reform that God calls us to continue in days to come. That's also mission, and so thinking about what the next 500 is going to be like as well, and what kind of church God is calling us to be. We're psyched for the speakers. I think it's going to be really kind of a fun, very different, dynamic, and diverse group of people. Lots of good energy. There's going to be just a great event. We're excited about it. The hotel itself is a phenomenal hotel. It's huge. It's the largest hotel in Kentucky, and there's two giant towers to it. One is a suites tower. One is a regular hotel rooms tower, and it's just massive and lots of good space. So we are really looking forward to what's going to happen here, and the experience people are going to have, and how God is going to be kind of stirring things up within our community in Louisville this year. And as we go, if people have questions, if you're coming to the E, if you've got questions about that as well, again, you can pop those questions in. I can try to answer them. If there's anything that people need to know as far as details or things like that. But we're really excited for the event.
Awesome. Wondering if you can give any sort of sneak peek about the format of some of the general sessions that people can expect, or is that part of the secret?
Well, I wouldn't call it, not secrets. Per se, I got to mute myself here so I can cough. Excuse me. Sorry about that. I have on the backside of a cold, and coughing in the microphone would have blown all your eardrums out. So, anyway, yeah. So I thought I'd mute myself for just a second.
Kind of you.
No problem. The general sessions, just kind of a variety of things are going to happen. Friday night, we're actually, it's going to be different. We normally have one kind of full meal during the event. In the past, some years it's been a Sunday morning brunch. Some years it's been actually a much more substantial Super Bowl party when it's been a Super Bowl weekend. This year we're going to do our opening dinner our dinner on opening night as a part of it, and just kind of think big German beer hall. It's going to be a really fun atmosphere and fun night as we kind of think about that aspect of the Reformation. There's a cultural component to it, certainly.
Cool.
That ties in, but that won't be the only piece of it. Then things will shift a little bit. I always think of the general sessions as sort of the heartbeat of the event.
Mm-hmm.
It is really about the heart of the person doing ministry, and then kind of the details and the training and the chalk talk is the workshop times that take place at different times throughout the event. And I think both are going to be really strong. I was looking at the workshop titles actually on the flight down here, and there's a lot of them I wish I could go to, but I've got some other stuff going on and I can't. But I think it's going to be fantastic on all ends. This is also just a great hotel. There's lots of space and chairs and couches and places for people to sit. And we're going to really emphasize this year even more than ever that sense of just sitting down with someone and having conversation. It's got these two towers, and they're on two sides of a 4-lane road. So it's two separate buildings, but they're connected by a bridge, which is wide. The bridge is like probably, 75 feet, 75 feet wide, and the bridge is also the hotel bar. And it's got a 50-foot long hotel bar that's also a fish tank. It's crazy. And so
cool.
It's just a fun place to hang out with great views, and it looks over the river. And it's just a fun place to be. So I expect lots of good conversation happening during the event.
Awesome. Very good. Anything else you want to tell us about EXT17 before we move on?
I don't think so. I think it's just going to be great. So come and be prepared to listen and learn, but also to connect with lots of folks that you would not have had an opportunity to meet before.
I maybe do have actually a question. So you mentioned the suite tower. It looks like all the workshops are in the suite tower?
Correct. Yep. There's two towers, rooms and suites, and each of them actually has its own complete convention center setup. I mean, you could do two events the size of the extravaganza at this hotel simultaneously. All of our program is going to be in the tower where the suites are, which is also where the hotel front desk is.
Okay.
Excuse me, sorry. The hotel front desk is where you check in, You just go right up one floor from there, and that'll be where all the events and activities are taking place.
Okay. Hospitality desk or hospitality table and exhibit hall all in that tower as well?
Yep. The grand ballroom where the main events take place, or the general sessions, directly out those doors and across the hallway is a giant area with the exhibits and excuse me, so sorry, and the exhibits and the hospitality table. Also, right in the center of that are escalators that go up one floor to this labyrinth of rooms where the workshops take place. So it's all kind of in close proximity.
Awesome. Sounds perfect.
Yeah, good setup.
Well, I'm excited about when we were looking at the setup of today's 3TC. You've got information to spill about 18, 19, and 20, so let's get to it. So
awesome. I just want to give kind of people a heads up. Yeah, we're booked and set up through 18, or I'm sorry, through 2020. 2018, the extravaganza will be in Houston. We've always tried, if we can, to try to do the extravaganza site in the same place where the gathering is going to be, because it gives people a chance to get the lay of the land. So the Hyatt Regency in downtown Houston will be where we're set up for 18. Our theme, and you can call this the grand unveiling if you'd like, but our theme is Finding Forward. The idea, we're actually kind of dovetailing off of the gathering theme, the idea that if this changes everything, if the cross is literally the stake in the ground where God places grace and love, what does that mean? Where do we go from there? How do we take that out? And it feels like in the church we spend a lot of our time trying to think about what that looks like. What is this sense of mission? How do we go about identifying that and following that path? And so our theme for 2018 is going to be Finding Forward, finding a way, a direction from the cross into the world. And so we're kind of excited about that as well. So it should be a good event. Yeah.
Very good.
And then in 2019, we just in the last few weeks signed a contract with the Hyatt in Jacksonville, Florida, which is going to be really fun.
First time, right?
Yeah, never been to Jacksonville before, so it's going to be great. It's a fabulous hotel. Again, kind of like this one. It's just really the physical layout, I think, will suit itself very well to our event. It's right on the riverside in Jacksonville that goes out to the ocean. And there's tons of stuff right in that area. You can see in that picture where the hotel sits, there's a river walk that goes in front of it, and there's a bridge that goes across the river. Lots of little restaurants and entertainment kinds of things. And actually across the river, there's a bunch of other restaurants, and they do it where you can, for $3, you can take a water taxi across the water to the other restaurants as well. So it'll be a really fun place for us to be. Obviously, we haven't come up with a theme or anything like that yet. That's kind of a ways down the road. But,
what do you mean? You haven't planned that far ahead yet?
I'm just happy we have a hotel, so that's great. So,
but
yeah,
it doesn't stop there. 2020.
No. I know. We're returning to one of our favorite spots, the Hyatt in Anaheim. So, excuse me, just a couple miles from Disneyland and close proximity to a lot of stuff in LA. It's fun to be at. It's one of the hotels that we've had great experiences at, so we're excited to go back there.
Cool. That's exciting. I don't know that I've ever known this many years in advance. I'm going to put them all on my calendar right after we're done here.
That's good. And I think even, I'm not sure about, I know that 18 and 19 we are not on Super Bowl weekend, which is always our preference, to not be on Super Bowl weekend if we can.
Yeah.
But we have to go with kind of where the prices, make the most sense and where we can get into and afford, because we really are committed to making the event as affordable as possible. I don't know if this weekend in 20 is Super Bowl or not. I think it might be, but 1 out of 4 ain't bad.
All right. Well, let's move to a little bit more information about the strategic plan. What can you tell us?
One of the things we're going to be introducing in the extravaganza this year is, 4 years ago we set a strategic plan goal of increasing our membership to 1,000. We've achieved that goal actually a year early,
Cool.
which is great. And now we've been working at kind of what's the next steps for the network. And I'm really excited about this. We'll talk more about this some at the event itself as well, and this will be printed out with more detail in the program book as well. But we started thinking, what's the next big, hairy, audacious kind of goal that we can do as an organization, as a network for our church? And we came up with something I think that's fairly bold and kind of exciting. And that is that that every single member of the network is going to create a plan and live into that plan that deepens their skills and identity in ministry. So whether someone is new in ministry in their first year or someone who's been doing this for 25 years, we want to challenge people to think about, okay, what's next for me in my own development, vocationally and personally, in my life and in my faith, and then actually to work, and we're going to create a system and do this, and I'll talk more about this with regard to practice discipleship, I think, but create some kind of a system that allows people to work on, with a cohort or with a coach in terms of creating what's my own plan for being better at ministry and stronger in my faith and more secure in my sense of who I am. And then we're going to have a spot somehow that gets kind of recorded and people can track progress. And then over a course of 3 or 4 years, can move and really develop and be able to say, this is the progress I'm making as an individual, and be able to say to even personnel committees or supervisors or things like that, you know, help me figure this plan out, and then hold me accountable, and let's work on this together. How can we be more excellent in what we do through the work of Christ? And so the strategic goal is that every person experiences dynamic vocational formation that helps them deepen their skills, recognizing that our formation vocationally doesn't end when you're hired, which I think sometimes people just sort of go to work and forget about anything else.
Yeah.
How to continue developing. What can they do, and what resources can we pull together, and maybe even as a network we can work on some things to help make resources available for people, and then really drive a lot of what we're doing with Extravaganza and Connect Journal and 3TC towards helping people in the strategic plan. So we're really excited about this. I think it's fairly bold. I think it's, I mean, you know, we're pretty clear. Every network member, that's over 1,000 people. And I think part of the deal is that when people recognize that there's the value that they're getting out of being a part of developing this plan, that will draw more people into it. And so we're pretty excited.
That's awesome. As you're thinking, or as you're speaking, I was thinking about what role 3TC could play in that overall plan. Our hope and vision is that this is a network gathering, you know, a regular network gathering throughout the year when we're not together at the Extravaganza. But we're always looking for new ideas and new people to connect with that might help us gain new skills, new insight, all those kinds of things. As guests on 3TC, that we might help people in their formation, in their, you know, exactly what you've laid out as these goals. And so as you were talking, it sort of makes sense to me that hopefully those of you who are listening, and you can tell all your friends, to look for Elizabeth, myself, or Todd at the Extravaganza, and pitch us your best ideas about Third Tuesday. How can we help enhance your ministry experience? Our 3 goals are the same goals as the network, of learning and connecting and renewing. And so we try to hit those 3 as we go throughout the year, but we just, each of us knows just a particular circle of people, and so we're always looking for new voices. So we hope that you'll catch us at the E or send us an email as we go along, so that we're expanding the scope of who might enlighten our church.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you're right. I think Third Tuesday, that's sort of the, when you think about it, in terms of a contact, and it's not face-to-face, obviously, but, you know, hearing a live person, I mean, that's the one most regular thing that we do every month. There's kind of this regular check-in, and this could be very easily a place where we gather to help kind of drive the plan forward.
Yeah.
And keep talking about the next steps and some of those kinds of things and such. Yeah, so I think there's all sorts of potential for how all these things, all the resources that the network has, can kind of all align themselves towards moving in this direction.
Cool. Exciting stuff.
Yeah, I think so.
All right. Tell us about practice discipleship. What would you like to pass along there?
Sure. And thanks, by the way, for giving me these little breaks when you're talking, that I can just mute myself and have a coughing fit.
Hey, no problem.
These gaps
I can sing or dance, whatever. You just let me know.
Yeah, I might need to give you a hint or something to do that. You sing and dance?
Oh, I do it all.
You do that?
I do it all.
Oh, okay, cool. Good to know. Well, practice discipleship, folks are probably aware now that we've completed a 3-year process, and it was a fantastic initiative that I think had a huge impact on the church. If you take one of the metrics we use, or things that we count, are I use the phrase contact experiences. So if one synod, if Minneapolis Area Synod does practice discipleship workshops and has 40 people there, that counts as 40 experiences. If they do in the next month and have another 40 people, it's 80. It could be the same people twice, but just the number of experiences that people have. That's one of the things we count. And one of the things that we've come up with is over 3 years, there's been something like 25,000 or 20,000 contact experiences that people have had directly through practice discipleship, which is amazing. I mean, the number of people, and again, it might be, even if it's 5,000 people who've done 5 things, it's a huge impact on the church. We originally set this up with a 3-year grant funded by the ELCA. The project was managed by the network. It originally was birthed out of the 2012 ELCA Youth Gathering as part of the program there, but there was enough energy that we wanted to keep it going. And so the way we finished that 3 years now, and actually we stretched it into 4 years. We were really frugal with money, so we extended it. But now that funding is pretty much running out, and so the question becomes, what next? And there's a pretty strong sense among the leadership that what we've done has been really, really good. We don't want to just try to get more funds and continue what we've been doing. That there might be something different in the mix coming up. The one thing that was created that we really appreciated was the infrastructure. The infrastructure was huge. So this idea that there's a coach in every synod, and every synod, they're doing their own training, and they're coming to the trainings to get trained, and then going out and doing these different seminars. It's been huge. And so we don't want to lose that infrastructure completely, because a lot of energy went into that, and I think there's value in it. But the question is, what does the content look like? So this is all kind of coming to an end, and we're wondering sort of what's next. At the exact same time, then the conversations about the strategic plan begin to really emerge. And so the question became, is there a way that we can link this idea of the strategic plan with the idea of people creating their own individual plans for personal and vocational development, and mesh that with practice discipleship? And maybe it's a matter of having multiple coaches in every synod, and each coach is leading a cohort of 8 to 12 people and helping walking through that plan. Or maybe it's the same format we've had with one coach per synod, and they're doing trainings on these kinds of things. But what's the best way for us to think that through? So really, one of the things we needed to do was a little bit set aside the practice discipleship just for half a year while we completed the strategic plan. So we knew what that would look like, which we're now launching this weekend. And now, really to figure out how this might all tie together. Okay, I need to do some singing and dancing here, Danica.
Okay. That's cool. I think that I'm not actually shocked by the large number of experiences. I know in our synod, lots of both professional youth workers, but also bringing volunteers to be a part of the trainings has been really awesome. So that's cool, and I'm excited it'll continue.
Right, and one of the struggles we had with practice discipleship, I mean, it was always trying to figure out is this for the professionals doing this full time who maybe have education, and this is more advanced education? Is there theological content to it that's more advanced or kind of second or third level, or is it really targeting towards the people that are volunteers and new to this ministry, or maybe the ones who are really just sort of stepping into it, not sure what they've gotten themselves into. And so hopefully, and I think that's always been a tension, is who you write the material for.
Yeah.
And I think they've done a pretty good job of balancing that for the most part. I think it's really worked pretty well. But this idea of tying it to an individual plan, I think really acknowledges and recognizes that people are at different spots and tries to identify that and then figure out where to go from there. So hopefully this will make it an even more holistic piece that will be applicable to lots and lots of folks.
Cool. Looks like we have about 5 minutes left, and so I want to make sure we get to all of the pieces, and I want to remind people that if you want to ask the man, the myth, the legend, your very own question, now's your time. So submit your questions, and I'll pass them along here. Let's jump to Martin's List. Can you say a little bit about that?
And I'd actually, this is really the first time we're talking about this strategic plan and the practice of discipleship anyplace publicly before the weekend. So, I mean, if you have feedback, I mean, outside the board and some of the other folks that are the leaders in the process, if you have feedback or thoughts, I'd really appreciate hearing them. That would be something I'd really love to receive, and we'll take that really seriously.
Cool.
But the next piece is Martin's List. Martin's List now, the revised Martin's List has been up for a year. We are continuing to develop that. Shannon Savage Howie directs that program, and it's fantastic. Last year we completely reinvented it, did a whole new thing where it's been really well received, where Martin's List, for folks that don't know, I'm thinking of Craigslist for ministry, but it's a place that you can go and download resources that other people have created, and in turn upload resources that you've created, so that you can share those with other people. Again, obviously we're not going to take, group publishing curriculum or Augsburg Fortress curriculum and upload that to share. That's not legal, ethical, nor good. But rather, if you, you read a Bible study on Matthew 2, and thought, hey, this wasn't terrible. Someone else might be able to make use of this. Upload it, share it, because someone's going to need it. And the cool part is it's really searchable, so people can find lots of things. And then if there's a resource that you like, you can save it in your library there by nailing it. Get it? See what we did there? Martin's List, nailing it. Yeah. So we introduced this a year ago, and it just really has been super well received. What we really want to encourage people to do is to keep uploading to it.
Mm-hmm.
What we notice is that we do things like last year after the E, there was a ton of activity. Lots and lots of stuff got uploaded. And then it was about, mid-April, and it kind of really calmed down a little bit. And then before summer, there was a lot of summer resources people were looking for. So a lot of stuff got put up there. And then over the summer, of course, everybody's on the road and traveling, so not so much. But in the fall, it was busy. But if we can just kind of continue to strengthen the library of materials that are there,
I think you should pose a challenge. I think there should be a challenge at the E this year.
Okay.
That every network member posts something on Martin's List.
There we go. There we go.
And if you make it a challenge, there's plenty of us who are competitive enough who are not going to let you down on that. Self included.
There we go. All right, well, I'll expect at least 3 resources from you then.
Wow, okay.
Yeah. So anyway, it's just been a great thing. And I think
everybody
as well,
has one thing that's shareable, right? Like,
yeah.
That.
Well, I mean, right now we've got probably 200, 250 resources that are on there, which is fantastic. But again, there's 1,000 network members. And everybody puts one thing up, then suddenly it's 1,250. I mean, it could be suddenly just monstrously huge.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's great.
So my challenge.
The other
make a challenge.
That's the challenge. Okay, we'll call it the Danica Challenge. That's what we'll do. The Danica Challenge.
Oh Lord.
And if you make it, if we have 1,250, then Danica will buy somebody lunch. I don't know.
Wow. On the network's card.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
All right.
Excuse me.
Oh.
So anyway, but I think this ties into the other pieces because as a central repository for resources with regard to practice discipleship and the strategic plan, I think this becomes kind of sits in the middle of this kind of ecosystem that we're trying to create for what this all might look like. Then there's Connect Journal, and really that's an ongoing thing. There's not a lot new or exciting to say, besides the fact it's awesome, but really excited about the issue that's going to go, and it's going into print like right now, and it'll be out shortly after Extravaganza in the mail. And we're doing an issue on mental health, which I've just become more and more aware of the role that mental health plays in ministry. That a lot of times when I'm dealing with people who are struggling with issues and you really kind of dig deep, there's all sorts of other things going on there.
Yeah.
Some of which I can help them with, and most of which I can't, are way beyond my capacity as a youth minister or a pastor. And so I realized, I need to be much more educated, much more trained, much more prepared to deal with those kind of issues. And so that's what this issue is all about. And I'm just really excited. I think we got some really good articles in this one coming out. So watch for this one coming to your mailboxes, or the electronic version coming out soon. Really kind of jazzed for it. So it's going to be great.
Well, you've been so clear and so concise that there are 0 questions. This might be a 3TC first. So way to go, Buegler.
I'm just not, there's not that excitement to me, so there's not a lot to ask. So.
But if you do have a burning question that you're too embarrassed to ask on air, here's Todd's email address, todd@elcaymnet.org. You can email them to him. Anything last minute you want to say before we wrap up, Todd?
No, I'm just thanks for the time and the opportunity to talk about some stuff we're excited about moving forward. If you've got those dates now for Extravaganzas coming up, if you're not making it this year, put them on your calendar for upcoming years. The other piece is we need folks to help put this stuff together. The network keeps growing and expanding in terms of what it's doing. We need more folks who are volunteers working on stuff.
Cool.
And so we need people to help with. Right now I really need someone to help with the placement pages, the job listing pages. We need someone else to help with some web management stuff. And we could probably use more. All the teams could probably use a couple more people. I think we talked about Third Tuesday Conversation. This team could probably use a couple more people.
You bet it could.
So if you're interested in being a part of any of those and helping move this whole thing forward, let me know, and I'm glad to try to get you hooked up.
Cool. Third Tuesday Conversations are all archived on the network page, so you can find this and many other titles linked there. And our February 3rd Tuesday Conversation will be Jacob Sorensen talking about the impact of summer camp. So you can look forward to that on February 21st. You'll get the invite to your inbox right before, but we'll look forward to being together at the E, and if not at the E, then next month right here. Same bat time, same bat channel. We'll see you at the E, and make sure that you find us with all of your wonderful 3TC ideas and ideas for the network as we move forward together. The archive will be available on the website. We're all in transition to go to the E, so sometime by the end of next week. Sound good, Jenny? All right. We will look forward to being together. Thank you, Todd, for being with us, and we'll hope to see everyone face to face this week. Take care.
Thanks.